a literal fight broke out in a round table, and that makes me excited to watch it. So today we're checking out the mega pan India producers roundtable 24 by Galatta Plus with Baradwaj Rangan, and this roundtable is in news with two of the guests having a verbal debate. I will say that, like, I've heard many things about it, a lot of talks about it, so I thought let's have a look what actually happened and we'll discuss about it. Now this is part one, there'll be part two, I'll react to it separately, but if you haven't seen this one, I'll put the link in the description. You can check it out on the main channel of Galatta Plus. There's a reaction to it, not a substitute. I'll be pausing them while talking, and I want to know what the fight is, what the debate is, because like people are split on this person is right, this person is right, so it'll be interesting to see what's going on. By the way, the channel membership is live. If you like the content a lot, if you want to support the channel, you can become a member, get to watch such videos early and some member only reactions. To know more, click on the join button and let's check it out.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Galatta Plus Mega Producers Pan India Roundtable.
Siddharth
And
is
we'll
a
have with us
producer?
Ashna Kalpati, the producer of GOAT, AGS Cinemas.
Okay.
We have Siddharth, actor, producer
Nice. I wanted this introduction because I wouldn't have. I think most people wouldn't know the producers, right? They are not on the face.
of Chitta. We have Nagavanshi, producer of 3 films this year, Tilu Square, Guntur Karam, and Lucky Bhaskar recently.
They both fought. So okay.
Got a lot of acclaim and box office. Then we have Boni Kapoor, who has no need for any introduction because everybody
You got here. Huh?
knows him, and he had Maidan this year and movies over several years. And we have, on behalf of Burroughs, we have Dr. Sharon Thomas. She is handling the marketing international and north for the film, and she's here because the producer of the film, Mr. Anthony Perumbavoor, could not be here with us because he is running around. It's the last minute work as usual is happening. So you're
Burroughs, I'm hearing it didn't pan out, right? Like I think how most of us thought what would happen happened, right? So
going to be talking about Burroughs, and here is one of my favorite filmmakers from Kerala, Don Palatra, who makes these wonderful independent films, and he's turning producer because he's not finding it easy to finances for your films.
We will get into that.
We will get into that soon, yes. So
I've heard, has like a lot of strong words about how films and commercial movies and all. I saw his film Family, very well made film.
this is it. So let's begin with this movie that nobody's heard of called Pushpa 2. Are we looking at a one-off success created by a certain model, or are we seeing a sign that this is where we need to go as an industry if big money needs to be made?
Well, I have not made big money in my last film, so I'm the wrong person to be asked.
Right.
To be asked this question, you should begin with Archana because she's made a lot of money in this last film of hers.
Oh, you did? Okay, the IRS shall be watching this very keenly.
No, first of all, I think with
Pushpa 2 success, I think I reacted to another video you can check on the channel of Anurag Kashyap, and the way he describes it, like what happened, like how Bollywood kind of alienated a big audience, Hindi belt audience, and then how Goldmine came in with dubbed South Indian films for them on YouTube, and then they got hooked on that, and they finally got something, and now Pushpa going there and releasing the trailer in Patna, like that kind of, now they are avid South Indian movie watchers. They don't really care about Bollywood. That has kind of explained the situation, but yeah, let's hear it.
the Pushpa 2, we also distributed it in Tamil Nadu, right? So for me, I loved Pushpa 1. When I saw Pushpa, it was a world. And I think Sukumar sir as a director and Allu Arjun as a hero, I think it was a magical combination and everything worked in that film. It was super commercial. And what was very interesting to watch is the way the Hindi market and the Hindi belt has sort of welcomed this film, because it is a very native film to Andhra and actually to Tamil Nadu as well, because it is set in that
Right.
region. And I think all of us were able to relate to it and enjoy it completely. And I saw it in theatre just before COVID, Pushpa, when it came, and it was a phenomenon. People were just enjoying it. And Pushpa 2 again was just brilliant. And the opening was like any big hero in the South, in Tamil Nadu. We opened 10 plus crores on day one, which I think was an incredible number for a non-big Tamil hero film as such from a box office perspective. And to answer your question, I think I don't believe in pan-India films. I think there are good films and bad films. So if there is a good film, I think now thanks to the OTT and people opening up to good cinema, they're able to watch it. And sometimes if it culturally relates to various parts of India, then it becomes a phenomenon.
But the reason
I do have my own, like, it's interesting, like a Tamil producer saying don't believe in pan India thing. Now I have made a video about it. We had a whole, Tamil roundtable, and there also I talked about this. We discussed about it, and I think it's not about that Tamil cinema is not making good films. Tamil cinema is making amazing movies. No one is saying that don't make a Vada, don't make a Miyadagan. That's not the issue. That's everything is sorted there. You're making amazing, amazing content, amazing films. The point is when you're trying to make a big film to go pan India, you are failing at that. And the reason for that is the various things which I've talked about in that video. You can check it on the main channel. But yeah, it's like when you see Pushpa, right? Like everything, the whole aesthetic value is very different. The scale is high, but it's the emotions, it's the beats, it's the character moments, it's the basics of storytelling that is working. It's nothing else.
also ask this question is because almost every film these days, which has a big star in it, is being promoted as a pan India film. And what about Baroza? Do you look at it as a pan India film? Is it a Malayalam film that's being dubbed in other languages?
So I mean, I have to just go back to where I come from, which is really I was part of the Sony Classics and Sony Pictures. So for me, I agree with Archana what she said. It's a film. This concept of pan India is kind of dying down slowly but steadily. But because I come from a marketing and distribution background, I think the whole concept is about how are they marketing it. For example, Pushpa is right now, I was impressed to see they went right into Bihar and had an event there.
Yeah.
They were spending such a huge amount in publicity. And last but not the least, look at the distribution platform that they've got, where last week, I mean, literally the whole of India, every screen, every show was only Pushpa. Now, the question here we need to ask ourselves is, does this make it a pan-India film? Or is it also the way it is appealing to all audiences, whether it is South, North, and
Yeah.
West and East?
Everyone is like, now I've been told in Kerala the film underperformed, but still made 13 crores. So I don't know what the metric there is, but I think what makes Pan India is like now you can say Marco is Pan India because it's doing so like it had 89 shows in Hindi dub version in North India, and it has gone to I think 400 500 shows. So you can say it's a Pan India hit because every across the country it's being watched. So I think Pan India is that the audience accepts it around the country, not just in one particular state or one particular territory, where because it's a hero that they like and only they are watching it, no one else is.
Then it is really, so Pushpa has also cracked it there because there was some kind of a relatability in terms of its, the entertainment value, the relatability to the main hero, where and that really worked very well. But coming to Burrows, don't get me wrong, but I think it is genuinely the real pan-India, pan-world. It is a celebration of Indian cinema to the next level. Okay. Why do I say this? Because it has an ensemble cast from Portugal, from Africa, from India. The technicians, again, is a mix of Western, some of the best names in Hollywood, like Mark Killian, Jonathan, who have done effects on Martin Scorsese's movies, and Indian, the best of state award, national award winning people. The whole creative team is again an ensemble. The music, we have Portuguese music and we have Indian music. So musicians across the world have come together. We have a Shan versus this. So when you say pan-India, does it work? I think every producer kind of, whichever producer looks at it from a holistic point of internationally, nationally, a pan-India film has to go international also. That is important for us. So I think Burrows is one such movie that is going to go. We're having a release in Russia and Spain and USA as a local film. So that's what I say. But I think anything that is looking into all this is definitely a pan-India film. And kudos to all the South, North, who have tried to break boundaries, especially after pandemic, and just come. I think that's amazing. It's a great thing for India that we are kind of coming to a level playing field in cinema.
Right. Now, when we're talking about Kalki, we're talking about Pushpa as, huge money makers. But in the middle, you also come out with a sequel to a film that nobody expected called Tillu Square. And that does a ton of money. As a producer, there are two types of films, right? And Siddharth, you too. So one is I make this film for X amount of money. This film, with ratio to that X, it gives back a good ROI. That's one way of saying this is a successful film. There's another level of success where you're saying that this is bringing all kinds of audiences into theaters. It's breaking some whatever crore. What is it? The latest is what 1,000, 2,000,
plus,
whatever. Yeah.
1,000.
So all those box office things are so the industry is profiting, the theaters are profiting, the distributors, the chain is kind of benefiting. What is your
An event film is always an event film. Like Kalki, Pushpa and all. These work in all formats and all. So, but in Telugu now at present, either event films are working or more of the comic space or different kind of genre films are working for us now. So the regular format films and commercial genre, it's almost dying down in Telugu also.
when you say regular format? What do you mean?
See the action or these revenge stories and all these happen, right? We used to make all these films 5 years back. These kind of films are dying down even in Telugu right now. When Tillu was made, everybody loved the character, but he was that was when Sidhu played Tillu, he was pretty new actually. So we couldn't reach the proper audience we wanted to. So we thought, well, the audience loved the character when it came on OTT. So we thought we'll make a sequel to it and in a bigger space and a bigger span, and it worked.
Right. And
Because of the character, they loved the character.
Yeah. And
Interesting.
It did what, like over 100
I think there were some problematic things about that film floating around. I didn't see the film, so no idea.
Yeah, 100 crores. Gross.
Yeah, and for a movie of that size, that's
Sidhu, it's
No, not
No.
So Sidhu
another guy,
Janalagada
yeah,
is a
Sidhu
very
Janalagada.
talented writer actor from Hyderabad.
yeah.
He's done Tilu's 2 parts of the film.
okay. I'm sorry for my ignorance, but I thought he was the only Sidhu around.
No, sir.
And there's now a part 3 in the making.
Yeah.
Okay. And what do you have to say about this?
No, I think it's great for specific parts of the industry when we have, like he says, event films or tentpole films, right? So the whole theatrical distribution thrives on that one big.
Man, I'm always, so confused by this guy. Like, not what he's saying, something else. Don't take me wrong. This guy, I saw first time in Rang De Vasanti, right? And okay, he's an actor. And then it's been such a long time. And he still looks so young. Then he does a Chitta, and then now he's sitting on a producer's round table. And then he doing acting of a 20-year-old or whatever, teenager, I don't 20-year-old in Indian 2. I'm just thrown away what's his age, what he does. It's like such a mysterious person for me.
Thing that can make many times its investment in market. So I think that's a separate part. And again, firstly, thank you for having me on a producers panel. And I just want to say
You are a producer.
No, I know, but I'm on a panel where you have people who do this far more actively on a day-to-day level and for Sir over many decades, and Vamsi being prolific. But they've made 2 films that I take home as some of the best films of the year. Maidan is one of my favorite films of the last decade, and Lucky Bhaskar is a fantastic film. Yeah. So to make quality films and still bring them to a broad audience, I think is a big win. And as far as event films are concerned, they're the lifeblood of the distribution and the theatrical
Yeah, that's
model.
true.
But cinema is many departments.
Right.
So definitely when it comes to theatrical, 10 times the investment, 20 times the investment, I think there's only good films and bad films from that perspective, like Archana says. If a film works in that ecosystem, it works.
Right.
And having said that, even senior producers will not be able to say that I know this film will do this much money. As long as that mystery of not knowing what the Janta Janardhan or the box office tells you, that there is a little on the day of release, even if they've made the best sold, best marketed, all the films on day of release, you don't know, right? So you're waiting for the result to
She's
come.
laughing. She knows.
Nobody knows. Nobody can say one day before.
Nobody can predict anything.
Nobody can predict.
predicted what Pushpa did.
She
in
has a
Hindi.
smile that says, "Dude, I had a Vijay film." That's like.
No, even
Nobody
Vijay's
can
film also,
predict.
nobody expected Vijay's film to get such a huge number on Saturday. We were surprised with the Tamil number on Saturday. It was more than the.
You
day
understood
one.
what I'm saying? No, nobody, no matter how many times they do this 1,000 crore win, they can't be sure of it the next
Yeah,
time. So
yeah.
like
That's
ma'am
true.
says, the preparation of how much you need to do is the pressure of how much you need to market and how much you need to spend. I think the mathematics all is now a very well defined space.
I don't think whole of Mumbai would have slept last Sunday when 80 crore would have come out. I don't think whole of Mumbai would have slept here. After Pushpa grossed 80 crore on a single day on one Sunday, which was not done
That also in the Hindi belt.
in the Hindi belt. Only in the Hindi belt. It's not
Excluding the
Telugu.
South.
It's not in Telugu, sir. Yeah, without Telugu.
अपने Andhra, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, all these areas were.
वो 84 crores जो gross announce किया ना सर, वो खाली हिंदी net का है.
That's what I'm like. Only the Hindi heartland and the north end.
Already, okay. I'm already sensing tension. Maybe it's the foot pointing towards him. Like they both are saying the same thing, and there's a miscommunication, and it feels like they are saying different things, and they're trying to correct each other.
So that nobody can predict anything.
Right. So when you know, there is all phases in every industry, right? So let's just talk about Hindi industry to take an example. So not to go too much in the past, but let's say you have these big action movies of 70s coexisting with the Yash Chopra kind of films. You know, that's one happening. Then you have you know, a certain format gets set in, and then suddenly Ram Gopal Verma comes in, Farhan Akhtar comes in, and a certain another kind of model comes in with a more urban slant of filmmaking, and that coexists with Wanted and Ready and those kinds of films. So that kind of thing happens. So there have always been event films in that matter. For example, Wanted was a huge blockbuster. That was but at that time it was seen only as a Hindi film. It was not seen as a thing. Do you think, what is the model today where do you think the monies are coming from today?
See, first of all, I agree with respected other producers like Archana, Siddharth, him and her have spoken. They are today's generation.
Again, he didn't take his name, so it intensifies.
I started my career almost 52 years back.
Wow.
So I'm also trying to learn the model, but I feel there's no model, there's no fixed model. Like they said, there are good films and bad films. See, stalwarts like Raj Kapoor, V. Shantaram, Mehboob Khan, after giving Shorab Modi, after giving spate of hits, have also given failures.
Yeah.
So,
That's true.
Nasir Hussain, he had his own formula. Manmohan Desai had his own formula. You know, Bhim Singh had his own formula. Now, Bhim Singh is one director who gave 9 hits in a row, which is a record. Manmohan Desai followed up with about 8 films in a row, super hit. Raj Kapoor is the only filmmaker who's, you know, he was there for 5 decades, and each decade he had a blockbuster. You know, in
Wow.
mid 40s or late 40s, he had a huge hit, which was his first film as producer-director, Aag. Then he had Barsat and Avara, then he had 420, and then he had Sangam, then he had Bobby, then he had
Ram Teri Ganga.
Prem Rog and Ram Teri Ganga Meli. For a producer-director to grow with each generation and accept,
Wow.
digest.
I think this is something which is not talked about, you know. But again, it's good to know that it was in the past, and I think that's the problem, that today you don't find this culture in Bollywood, that you had such a big history, you had such, you know, people who understood how to make films and cinema, and now it's all just about money and you're just remaking, and you know, like that culture is lost.
What their tastes are, because tastes they keep on changing. Every generation has a different mindset. But he was one filmmaker who probably knew, but he also has made failures. Like, according to me, I mean, you see, although Mera Naam Joker was a great film, like he said, one of his favorite films is Maidan. Even I feel it's one of my favorite films. You know, if I've got to, of the 45 films I've made, there are 2-3 outstanding films that I feel are iconic, or probably world says they're iconic. So I would like to believe that too. So I think, like Mr. India was, Maidan will, maybe if not now, maybe in future. Like Yash Chopra has made so many successful films, but his favorite film always remained Lame, which was not successful. So there is no model, and nobody really knows the formula of what the model is or should be. It's basically, as they said, good cinema and bad cinema. And there's nothing like pan-India film. This term is a new term.
Right.
And this term has come about only because of COVID, Corona. And people were just locked at home and they had nothing to do, and the OTT platforms took over. and you were watching films of different region. Earlier there were regions. Now there are no regions.
Correct.
So it is good film or bad film.
Right.
Whether it's a Malayalam film, whether it's a Tamil film, Telugu film, Kannada film. Kannada films also have done superb business.
Yeah.
The market in Bengal has improved. Earlier they used to make films for 2 crores, 3 crores. Today even they have budget about 15, 20 crores. The actors are taking that kind of money. Malayalam cinema people earlier were restricted. Films were made in Malayalam in 15, 20 days. And those hit films were remade in Tamil, upscaled by the producers and the director. They became successful in Tamil. Then the same film was bought in Telugu.
Yeah.
Again, if they had their own formulas which were pushed in.
Yeah.
And if the Telugu version was a hit, then they used to make Hindi films.
Yeah.
So now that kind of element or that element is gone. Because you get to see films from all regions on OTT. And
Yeah.
people today, the dubbing
So stop making remakes.
standards have improved.
Yeah, that's also true.
Lip sync, which was a little erratic earlier, probably has been perfected by several kinds of new mechanisms which have come in. And you see, cinema is the only entertainment for most of the Indians, or probably most of the people in the world. Except for a few rich Western countries where they've got several other avenues of entertainment. Cinema remains the main entertainment avenue. And it is so in India. And that's the reason I don't agree there's a panic.
But that is kind of changing because you can now sit at home with OTT, but that's also cinema you can say. But even Instagram, YouTube, like there's so many things that even if you don't watch movies at all, you have something or the other for entertainment.
India film or it's either good film or bad film. In today's times, especially after COVID and after the OTT platforms have taken over, films are to be defined in the way they've said, good films, bad films. Good films will do well everywhere. Now the range of success depends. In the earlier times, I remember films in overseas used to release in 10 countries or 8 countries and just about 12, 14, 20 prints. Earlier we used to call them prints. Now it's a digital world. Today, a film like Pushpa is released in 4,500 screens. A Hindi film of a Shah Rukh Khan or a Salman Khan releases in about 4,000, 4,500 screens. So that's the kind of power which our Indian film industry has got and gained thanks to OTT, thanks to the kind of, we've had a breed of technicians who've probably matched the Western technicians. But the element of story remains Indian. Either it's folklore like what Bahubali.
You can say that like technology wise we have like the gap is not there anymore. The gap of money is still there, which slowly will be covered, and you would want films like Pushpa, Bahubali, to cross those barriers of money. Like it cannot be that we only make 250. See, the money thing is that if you look at the creatively story wise, you don't care about box office. That's totally fine. But when you look at an industry and for it to grow, you need more money to be made, more markets to be open, that your ceiling is high, sky is the limit. That Hollywood has, right? Hollywood can invest $200 million in one film because they know they can make $1 billion. And 200 million is not even something we have reached in a box office also. So they are spending on a movie more than what we have ever achieved in our box office, our highest grossing film also. So that gap is always there, but like the entry level, the way we can shoot, the cameras available, the lenses available, all of that is now very similar. It's just that VFX also, you can say that if you give more time, more money you spend, VFX will be also at that scale. And today most films have, like most big budget well made films have good VFX, they have reached that level. But if you look at that comparison, of course not fair. As I said, money is still the issue.
Was, or a historical like Triple R, or historical like Mughal Azam, which was part fiction and part reality. So it was a good mix. So these things are something which are coming to the fore now, and more so.
Right.
And I think this will continue. Nobody,
Because they give you option to make the scale higher, right? Like you cannot make a very realistic grounded story that scale level. Either you add fiction to it or make a fantasy film, or sci-fi, this that, like there are ways to make that scale, make a big world which is different, and then that becomes special to be watched, like Avatar.
really will understand what the model is and which model will click. You've just got to attempt to make a good film. like Pushpa, has created these records. Where content is concerned, it has just been upscaled. And the director has superbly, picturized sequences which were done earlier too. But he's done it in his own way.
Yeah.
They are brighter, they are colorful, they are impactful, and the production values are immense. Earlier, I remember people used to talk only of Chitralekha or Chandralekha Germany had made.
Yeah.
So that was the first film which had this kind of colossal look. So Pushpa, in its own way, has created that, and the hero is someone who has always been accepted in Indian cinema.
Right.
A front foot hero is always a hero who's loved and liked by masses instantly. There are romantic heroes too, like Rajesh Khanna became a superstar not doing action, but just romancing. Rishi Kapoor was a huge star only because of this aspect. But today, actors have become more versatile too. Earlier, they used to be slotted in one image and they used to stick to that image. Today, actors are more adventurous. They do different kind of films, and that's how the audience, their following has increased. The audience has started accepting their hero doing any kind of roles.
Right.
Once he's accepted in their system, they are ready to accept him in any form, any kind of an image, any kind of a role.
Right.
So that's the difference between the earlier times and today's times. And things will only grow. See, and today, in Russia, for instance, Raj Kapoor till today is remembered. When I visited Egypt, they would talk only of Amitabh Bachchan, then Shah Rukh Khan. In Morocco, again, Amitabh Bachchan, the king of Morocco had honored Amitabh Bachchan and later Shah Rukh Khan. So Indian stars, like for instance, Telugu films and Tamil films have unique market. Like for instance, Telugu films have a unique market in US. Tamil film has a unique market in Singapore, Malaysia. That is a big chunk of overseas business. And Gulf, of course, is a cosmopolitan area.
No, Gulf has a huge market for Malayalam.
Malayalam also.
That's what I'm saying. It's a cosmopolitan area. When I say that,
Oh my God. Again, they are. It's building up, guys. It's like one. It's like nudge, 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 and then it will become okay.
includes
Yeah, like you said, divides the.
So, but
one thing, sir, you have to accept this. This might sound really harsh, but we South Indians have changed the way you look at cinema, sir, for Bollywood also. Because you guys were stuck in making films for Bandra and Juhu, but now we, Triple R, Bahubali, Animal.
No, you're wrong there.
Yeah.
It's
Jawan.
Okay, I would. Okay, the way he says it, it could have been, I think, could have been said better, because he's kind of, in a way targeting him as that you are a Bollywood guy representing Bollywood here, and him saying that you guys now are learning from South. Like maybe the way of saying that could have been that Bollywood nowadays, is kind of learning instead of targeting him, and then same debate would have happened. Like, but the way this becomes make it personal. So let's continue.
These kind of change your version.
No. It's not.
Sir, after Mughal Azam, you used Bahubali and Triple R, which were Telugu films.
No, but you see.
You never said a Hindi film's name after Mughal Azam.
Well,
Three,
you
two.
see, when I was talking,
Yeah,
when I was
600
talking about
crores.
historicals.
No, sir. Even the big span, huge films.
See,
sir.
in this forum now, we can't be talking of every bit of knowledge that we know.
I understand, sir.
We
But
just got to talk on broader terms.
Correct.
So when I say Mughal Azam and Bahubali and all that, it's not that I missed out on the films. I know those films.
no, sir. I'm not saying you
Tip
missed
of
out
my
on
fingers,
any.
I can, rattle out those names.
No.
But it's nothing like a Telugu cinema is taught Indian.
Correct.
No, it's not taught, sir. We just rediscovered Hindi cinema because
I don't believe that.
No.
because this mass, huge event
It
films.
was always there.
Always.
Let's say it. Let's finish this segment.
It was always there.
Because the last 3-4 years, all the.
Even the hero of Pushpa 2 has said he's a big fan of Amitabh Bachchan.
Yeah, sir.
So,
Yeah,
no.
I'm a huge fan of Shah Rukh, sir.
He
That
could
is
have
not-
said he's a big fan of N.T. Ramarao.
No, he's a fan of Chiranjeevi, sir, also, sir.
No. See, he may be. But what he's spoken to media lately was he's a huge fan of Amitabh Bachchan.
Yeah, sir.
So, which means it is not the language. The barrier is never a language.
Right.
Barrier is what is good, what is bad. And what people digest is something which I feel is good. Whether it's Telugu cinema or Tamil cinema or Hindi cinema or Malayalam or Bengali, it may be anything.
Absolutely.
Today, Marathi films are doing 100 crores.
Correct.
Yes.
A film like Sarah had 100 crores, which the Marathi producers never dreamt that this could be this kind of business. Now, there's one film which I forget, I bought the rights for South Indian, which is the number two, most successful film after Sairat, is done up to 90 crores. So there was never a possibility in the minds of Marathi film producers a film could do that kind of business. So business and the thought process of the audience has gone a sea change. And this sea change has been helped and pushed by the OTT platforms. So I don't mean to undermine all what you said or all what you have.
No,
in
no,
mind.
sir. See, in the recent
But
past,
at the
all the
same time-
films which has done huge business in Hindi, like Bahubali, Triple R, KGF 2, now Pushpa 2, Kalki, everything are films which Animal is a Telugu director who has
And he
come.
made it, but he made a Hindi film. No?
Yeah, yeah, sir. That's what I mean. All this.
See, you're forgetting Gaddar. You're forgetting Hum Aapke Hain Kaun. You're forgetting Dilwale.
Sir, we forgot-
See,
sir,
Hum
the only
Aapke Hain
two-
Kaun was dubbed. That was the
Sir,
first
in this
film.
huge era of this big numbers of all the Telugu dubbed films, only two big films worked: Patan and Kadar. Kadar and Patan worked along with the Hindi films. All the other films, which all were Telugu dubbed films.
No. See,
See, he's not wrong what he's saying. I think the point, so what Vamsi Garu is trying to say is that in the recent past, is Telugu cinema is overtaken and South Indian films have overtaken, and that they're dominating over Bollywood, and Bollywood is now have forgotten the ways of making commercial films and how to reach the audiences, and now they are taking lessons from South to how to do it. That's I think what his point of view is. Whereas Boni Kapoor is saying all that doesn't matter. There is no one upmanship, one is better than the other. Bollywood always had this. They came up with the action, young angry man hero, Amitabh Bachchan, this and that actually has influenced all the filmmakers today who are making such films. So he's saying it's all, learn this, and it's all part of, you know, a cyclic thing. It's not about one is better over the other and they are teaching. Like that's what his perspective is. That's what I'm understanding. And yeah, they both are debating about it.
you
No,
probably
Jawan
are not
was there.
aware of
Jawan was
Hum Aapke Hain
there.
Kaun.
Jawan was very big.
No, but
Jawan was actually.
see. Let me just read.
Yeah.
But I think more than honestly, I
That's what I
really
was just
feel.
saying. See,
No, I
Jawan
really
Nice that other people are interfering to stop this.
feel it's not about see, look at Manjumal Boys, right? It did magic at the box office. Like it's a Malayalam film, but in Tamil Nadu box office, it was celebrated. So we never know what people are taking away from a film. All of us are setting out to make a, and I honestly also feel Pan India is now becoming a problem when you're making or mounting a film, because like when we were doing Goat, right, and Goat finished number one in Tamil Nadu box office, it did really well in the north, and overseas was brilliant, but it did not do as well in Kerala or in Andhra. So we don't know where they're able to accept it, but also the CSK connection. So wherever there were Tamil audiences, people came in droves and they saw the film. Manjumal Boys, again, the Tamil connection that they had with Kodaikanal and the Guna Caves, people are doing it. But my biggest issue, or I'm worried, is when you're sort of making a big film, say with a big hero, when you coin the word pan India or you put that term, it becomes a big issue because first we have to natively make a good film, is my.
Right.
Yes.
I think that's a problem, right? That's a problem of just making a film. That before you make a film, that you are saying, "Oh, I'm making a pan India." So suddenly your like priority is shifted from making a good film first, instead of you're trying to make it a pan India film, get this actor, get this story, we'll shoot the song there, and you're talking about all the peripherals which are not priority. Priority should be story. I think KGF it said that they just wanted to make a film, a high budget film, and then suddenly it just exposed, and the way they saw the visuals, they're like, okay, this we can actually take. This is looking so good that we can actually take this to across the country. Let's do that. Why only make it as a Kannada film? So that's how you do it. Like SS Rajamouli, the way he thinks is that the thing is that the stories you want to tell, they require so much money that he needs to have these films be reached to the most number of people he can, so that he can make that money back. So his idea is not that I want to make a pan India film. I want every audience. So let's get actor from here, there, and I'll make a project. No. He has a story to tell, but that story requires that kind of insane budget because he thinks big, and that's why he needs these audiences. And now his playing field is the whole world. The next film, which is set to be now in 2 parts, he got Priyanka Chopra on, Mahesh Babu already. There's some foreign actors also playing in. So he's going global now because his story demands that. I think budget is supposed to be 1,000 crores. So no one in India, you cannot just, if in India the film is hit, everyone watches, still it'll be struggle to reach 1,000 crore just in India. So you need that global audience to take that film to 2,000, 3,000 crore so that you at least make 2 times the money you're spending. So again, the starting point of a film should not be that you want to make a pan India film and construct it, get actor, director, and story should be first. You have a story, you know, tell the story, then it can go pan India. Then you can think about all that. But the story has to be there, right? Just don't make up the story because you don't go pan India.
Has to work for your audience and your hero that you're making for, because that audience is going to come in first, because the opening is going to happen in
Maximum.
that home state.
Right.
Only when it works, then word of mouth is spreading and then it's doing really well in other languages.
Yeah.
Is my
No, that's right. I'm just going to interrupt to let Don speak a bit because he comes from the other end of the spectrum and he makes fantastic films. But Don, what has made you say your films don't cost a lot of money and you want to become a producer at this point? What made you say I want to become a producer?
I don't know what they said, but he kind of tried to hide the mic so it doesn't catches it, but the mics are good.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for inviting me to this wonderful panel. And yeah, when you
The tension is high,
told
huh?
me about the producers panel, I was thinking, for a moment, whether I should say yes to it because whether I'm a real producer or not. But I started making films 10 years ago, and since then, I realized that I have been a producer for almost all my films as well. Even though I wasn't, credited that way, because when you are an independent filmmaker, you can't really distinguish between, all these
Yeah,
different roles.
interesting.
Sir said earlier, I think I'm a creative producer that way as well. So for the upcoming film, so we are really, we have actually started a new production company, and the reason for that, there are several reasons. Firstly, I think a producer should be someone who knows that particular cinema, that particular film, and someone who is aligning with the director's vision, and that communication is it's not very easy all the time. And so for films like mine, which don't really make a lot of money, so you need to have someone on board who can do that. So I decided to with the help of a couple of friends of mine, we started a new company called Artisan Films. So like that term itself means, we believe in the craft of film, craft of making cinema, and the language of cinema itself. So hopefully, and the only aim that we have is not to enter into any 50 crore or 100 crore clubs, but rather to sustain as a filmmaker, to keep on making the kind of films that we believe in.
It's very interesting, the difference that here, one side you're talking about 1,000 crores, and one side they are just becoming producers so they can sustain and make small films which may not cost even crore, 1 crore, less than that. Just want to sustain that they make enough money so that they can make the next film. Like just the spectrum, my god.
For example, recently, we were all mentioning so many films that were huge success in box office. But one film that I would like to mention is the Payal Kabadia's All We Imagine as Light.
Yeah,
That film is not at all a box office hit. I don't believe so. But at the same time, you can't, downplay its worth or the artistic merit of the film. So I believe in making the films that you are convinced in, that you can watch, rather than definitely other people might have other principles, other philosophies, but I believe in making the films that you would enjoy as an audience. So that is the kind of films that I want to make.
Daddy, may I just add something to what? Firstly, I totally loved what you just said, and it resonates with me. Like how Archana and Vamsi and Boni sir say a good film is a good film. that is in that space of what they set out to make.
Right.
For them, the
Yeah.
good film is the film that connects with the audience and at the stakes that they are involved in. Every producer does not have the same definition of
Yeah.
if I do this, I become a success. Then basically, if you lose money, then you cannot be a success, correct? But that
Yeah.
happens a lot on the distribution.
If what's your success ratio? Like, what is the making more money or getting more people talking about your film, or that it's going to film festivals, winning awards? Like, what is a success for you? That will define it, right? But mostly people look at numbers. They want to see how much money you made. If it made 1,000 crore, then only you're successful.
And the big ticket side of things. For us, independent film producers, self-funded or crowd-funded or multiple producer invested films, to be called a good film is the biggest success. And that means we set out to make a good film, like he said, the craft of filmmaking. In the first question and the first film you're talking about, that's not a debate on craft. It's not a discussion on craft. It's a discussion on box office success. And that is the barometer and the metrics on which their business runs. So similarly, what he said and the film like Payal's film, I saw an interesting discussion on the internet where Payal was talking to individual people on the internet where they're saying, oh, I want to see your film. She said, my film released. Nobody came and they canceled the shows. And then each individual says, no, I want to see the film. She said, if you want to see the film, all of you start a signature campaign to bring my film back for one show.
Yeah.
Now, if you ask Payal as a producer, she
That happened, and it actually worked, because she said on Twitter, I think, that if you whichever state you are, just make a starter hashtag or something, and then tag PVR and Inox and everyone, and they actually brought many shows back in theaters because of Pushpa. Pushpa came suddenly, every film was out, only Pushpa was playing for 2 weeks, and then suddenly this happened, and then again the film came back. They were having different shows in Mumbai, Bhopal, like different places, at least 1 or 2 shows a day, and that actually worked out. So kudos to her.
managed to go and win at Cannes. She managed to be she's nominated as a director at the Globes. She's nominated for Best Foreign Picture. Her producers think they've made the greatest success of her film.
Right.
But that film is never going to be seen by the audience that calls their film a good film. So both are great films for the people who made them, and they are great successes for the people who made them. But that's the beauty of a panel where both those films get discussed. And
That's
you bring
Very
out
well
what
said,
does
sir.
success mean.
right. Which is why, you or Don give this voice, whereas we get the.
So we got a Best Picture at multiple award shows last year. Now, as an independent, self-funded filmmaker from Chennai, to get Best Picture and Best Actor in several places was a massive, massive win.
Right.
But did we change the landscape of how Indian mass films are made or how even Indian films are made? No, but we would have influenced at least one more independent producer that there is a win like this possible for you. That becomes your vision board.
Right.
Ma'am, you were saying?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to, because I feel the pain of what you're saying, because I was the head of independent films and I know how tough it is. I mean, when we sit at different forums and conferences and we talk about these numbers, look, we're the largest producer of films in the world, around 3,000, 4,000. Just tell me how many reach the theater for a release.
Yeah.
Exactly what you said, with so much of, like I released a film for a very noted film director called Pan Nalan.
Yeah.
He had made a film called Samsara, which was acclaimed box office and otherwise across the world. He's an Indian director. He came to India for 2 years. Nobody would touch his film for a release of, like you said, one show. I saw the film. I felt it's unfair. Like, he needs to get. I remember the amount I had to fight to get a show with him when it was Krish releasing, and I had to tell the theaters, listen, you can't have the whole country just watch this. Give it a space. And finally, slowly by slowly, you have to handhold it and take it. So what Siddharth was saying, and he was saying also, and even in what we are discussing, I think something upsets me when we talk. It's not just the content. You can make a brilliant film like how Piles. Is it getting seen? Number two, let's talk about the marketing. Like Burroughs, I'm having a huge challenge right now. When obviously director Mohanlal, Ashirwad Cinemas, who are so big, they've made Lucifer, so many big films, Drishyam, all of it. Unfortunately, the producer's not here, so I'm Mr. Anthony Perumbauer, but I'm on. I know the amount that they have taken to make this movie. They've spent more than 150 crore or so too. But
So gave out a number, huh?
Director Mohanlal's vision was that I want to give something back to the Indian cinema. He wasn't really looking at only Malayalam. Yes, obviously that's important to him, but Indian cinema. Now, we have a tricky situation. He says, I've made this as a visual film and I want audience to see only on 3D.
Yeah.
The first week.
There is no 2D.
No, we don't have a 2D initially week. And I've had these discussions with, and Mr. Anthony, who supports, the vision, he said, yeah. But I said, it's not going to, even if we run, how does this work? Now, coming to the pan-India, which we were talking about, like the Kalki, the KGF, look, there is one thing that is that they have massively marketed. There is no two ways about it. Like if you see the marketing budget, like today when I go as a pan-India film, I'm marketing. The kind of budgets people are expecting of me is something that I, as a marketer, can only, in Hollywood, we only spend 20% of we cannot spend more than that. So when I look at the recovery of a 3D, it's going to be released in 3D, how do I able to spend that much? Now, if I don't spend that much and do it like, Pushpa and Kalki, then they're not going to say it's a pan-India film. And coming back to what Bonnieji was also saying, really, all Hindi films was a pan-India film. Hindi was going across the country.
Yeah.
What the difference right now is that a South good film is being released across the country, which we didn't have before. But now we can.
Let me. You see, we know of what has been coming out now, this generation. Even in the earlier times, all the mythological films made in Telugu or Tamil had a huge market. With Sholay, we had Sampurna Ramayana, which released. And if you go back to 1975, you will see Sampurna Ramayana also was a big hit.
You mean Jai Santoshima?
Jai Santoshima was the third film.
Third film, okay.
I'm talking about Sampurna Ramayana.
Okay.
With, I think it had N.T. Ramarao. And others.
This one, okay.
The old one.
The old one, yeah.
In 75.
Yeah.
And it was a big hit. There were several mythological films which were dubbed in Hindi. But earlier they were only concentrating on mythological films to be dubbed. But now the social cinema also is being dubbed. Now, first Hindi film which captured the South market was Hum Aapke Hain Kaun. It was dubbed in Telugu, it released in Andhra, and it had done very good business. That is the reason there was spate of Hindi films dubbed in Telugu and Tamil. But they didn't do the kind of business that film had done. So, you see, parallelly, now when Sangam was a hit in 60s, the same era, same time, we had a film in black and white, Dosti, which was a huge hit. And probably won more awards across all platforms.
I actually saw this film, the black and film Dosti, with my father. He talked about it and we thought, okay, let's check it out. And interesting film.
All festivals or all whatever awards functions.
And no names. I mean, like an unknown cast.
Absolutely unknown. Yeah. And handicapped. The main heroes were handicapped.
Yeah.
One was blind, the other was lame.
Yeah.
So that film had captured the imagination. That's the reason it was remade in Telugu too. I don't know if it was remade in Tamil, but it was remade in Telugu by Bapu. So this has always been there, but market has grown now. Thanks to OTT, there is no South Indian cinema or North Indian cinema. It's just good cinema.
And the director sir is mentioning is Bapu sir.
Yeah.
You have to ask yourself, what would Bapu sir be doing today in 2024?
Yeah.
There's a beautiful metaphor, Baddy, which I want to ask sirs all their opinions. When you go to a temple, everybody goes to the temple to meet God, right? And in Telugu, we call them Prekshaka Devulu, which means the gods that are the audience that are gods. So everybody goes with a dream and a prayer on their lips and their hearts to meet that God. But there are some people who stand in line and struggle to get a 5-second darshan. And there are VIP tickets where we've seen where you can go and you can get a nice lengthy time with the thing. Whose prayer is more important and which is a good prayer? This is the same effort of producers going to the theatre. Just because I don't have a VIP ticket does not mean I should not be allowed to see God.
Oh my God. Quite a loaded metaphor he used there. Huh? It's very difficult to break it down. But he's not wrong. The more money you have, as a producer, more option, more opportunity, more distribution, more screens available to you. But again, that they have to recover that much also. But a small film, even if they get their money back or just 2x 3x of their money, and just getting a space in theaters even, but their demand is also not the same, right? Like I would imagine that even an indie filmmaker wants a Payal Kapadia wants her films to be played in 4,500 screens. I imagine she would want that, but practically is that possible? I don't think so. In a world we live in, a film like that, even if it wins an Oscar, I don't think it will ever go that number of screens. That just doesn't happen. It's not physical, like viable, logistically and like take financially, like it doesn't work like that. How many people would really show up? So that's also there, but yeah, it's quite loaded. Again, Siddharth with the banger.
Is what she said.
Exactly.
Similarly, also, if only one film runs across all theaters, that means might is right. Which means that you're taking, that's fine also, because that's why OTT is there, that's why television satellite is there. At least our films will be seen somewhere. I meant a producer who leaves home to make a film can rest assured that at least we'll get noticed late, if not in the cinemas. So the question to be asked is the system fair? It's never, it's always stacked in different ways, and money talks, right?
Right.
But also from a theatre perspective, right?
Let
Because
me
I don't
extend on the conversation we had earlier. You see, now people talk, I spoke about Willie, but that doesn't mean that we should forget Kamala Hassan, who was a huge star in Tamil. His first Hindi film was a blockbuster. Right. Charanjeev, who was a huge star in Telugu, his first film was a huge blockbuster. The follows may not have been that kind of, but there was always an acceptance. Otherwise, why would Ek Duje be the biggest hit of that year? With Kamala Hassan, who was not a North Indian hero.
Sir, can that happen today?
It can happen
With a
today.
new
Why?
face, new
Why
director,
not? You see,
South director, new face.
It can today. Why has Adi Chopra taken Tarak for his film?
He's not a new face.
Sir, you're talking about the biggest superstar of his industry, working with the biggest superstar of this industry, with the biggest producer in India.
No, why has he taken?
Ek Duje Ke Liye is great director KB.
It's yeah, the examples are not really fitting well. Like I would assume when Chiranjeevi and Kamal Hassan made the Hindi film, they were a big star in their area, right? But again, today social media, like everyone knows everyone. It's not like even for Bahubali, right? No one knew Prabhas in Hindi belt. I don't think, like maybe few people who have seen the southern films, but that time no one used to watch southern films, in openly or would say it openly, right? Like I didn't know who Prabhas was. Like I had seen, clips, southern clips where he's killing someone instead of flying, like those kind of things I may have seen, but yeah, not. But then after watching that film, yeah, everyone's a fan now. So that is there now. What Junior NT doesn't work is that people already know from Devara RRR. Even before that, maybe not everyone in North would know Junior NTR. Like I would know because I was into South Indian cinema much before that, and I saw Janta Garage. I saw what was his name, Nanuku Premato, and I saw those films, Temper. So that kind of maybe I knew the actor, but majorly after RR he became biggest star of the country. So that's I think his question is that why Adi Chopra is doing that, because he wants to capture the South market also with war. Just doesn't want to make it a Hindi thing.
Are not known in the north. Kamal sir and sorry, I'm Rati ma'am as the cast, and still went on to run for a year. Today, no film is allowed to run for that long. So how will we get that kind of growth of an unknown film?
No, I agree and appreciate what you're saying. But coming to the point, you see, it is not today's phenomenon that these South films which are dubbed in Hindi and are doing well. In the earlier times also, they have done well. So which means it was always good cinema and bad cinema. It didn't really restrict कि भैया इसकी चलेगी या इसकी नहीं चलेगी. And the heroes of that cinema also did. Now, for instance, Mohanlal worked in my film company. And for me, it was a very successful film.
Okay, the point is, okay, that makes sense. That point he's making is that this trend of dubbing the films and traveling across regions, it's not a new phenomenon that only now it has started. It never happened before. It has always happened. Maybe it didn't pick up fire because the technology and the connectivity was not that strong. Now today, like if I see a Prabhas film, then I can go home and watch more of his films and know about more of on internet. Like that was not there that time. That only way was to one theater, nearby playing a film, and then you had no clue. So maybe the connectivity made it better. The social media, the streaming platform, like all of that. It's like the right time, right place. That time was not the right time. It happened. It really did well, and then more things happened, but that didn't well, and then it died down. Then after some years again that cycle started, but it died down again. And this time when with Bahubali's, the cycle side again, and now it's because everything is right. The cycle is just going on and on. It's not stop. It's not going to stop now.
So, and at that point of time, no film of Mohanlal had or been dubbed in Hindi. I mean, even if it was, it never reached the theaters. So these kind of things are always there and they will remain. When theaters used to open in the earlier times, in the 60s, 70s, till 80s, maybe till 90s, all the new theaters which used to have their first film to be screened in their theater, they used to, I'm talking about the North Indian market, I'm sure the same thing happened in the South too. They used to, like Patal Bhairavi, whenever it was shown on TV, all the roads used to be empty. Why? Because that had that kind of impact on the audience. Now, whenever a new theatre was opened in North India, they used to pick up either Mother India, which guaranteed all 28 shows full even after its principle of the first release. I mean, it happened continuously for 30, 40 years in any cinema which had to open with a film. It had to be Mother India, it had to be Mughal Azam, it had to be Sholay later, it had to be Sangam. These films remained immortal. Until today, they are immortal. And I'm sure you have this similar kind of a situation in South too. I remember Patal Bhairavi, then there was one more, film which, Patal Bhairavi, in the same, this thing, I forget
Maya
the
Bazaar.
name. Huh?
Maya Bazaar.
Maya Bazaar, yes. Maya Bazaar. Whenever, earlier there was just Doordarshan. Yeah. So whenever these films were to be seen or, to be screened, everybody used to be glued to the television. And
I think that's why a lot of people say that, right? Like Telugu cinema has always made films, with mythology and in the Hindu culture, and it has always kind of that has been always a thing, and that has always will always work, with India, and that's I think the only thing that nowadays, if you see, that's why the talk is that South films are more connected to the roots and culture because they've always made those films.
I remember I was in Chennai working with Bapu. The streets used to be empty when Patal Bhairavi was being shown, and I used to ask him. Today there was no traffic. So it's because Patal Bhairavi was being shown or Maya Bazaar was being shown. So this is something which.
So that's part one. Interesting discussion. A lot of interesting points. I think it's just everyone have their different way of. I think they all are saying the same thing, but they're just saying it differently. That's the problem happening there with some miscommunication. But yeah, I didn't think any fight happened. The tension became little high. In anticipation that the fight is gonna happen. Maybe part two holds something. We'll figure it out. But yeah, very very interesting discussion about different like big budget movies, 1,000 crore, and here we're just talking about sustaining ourselves and how there's no equal opportunity. It's unfair, but that's life also, right? Like you cannot really have. Hopefully, like you wish there is a fair system, but yeah, there is no fair system, right? It's all about the money. Theaters need to sustain themselves. They cannot put shows for films which no one is showing up, and it's better for them to put shows for the films people are showing up, and those are the big films which are marketed very well with a lot of budget, so that it's a cycle. You cannot change, has to happen at every step. A system has to become better for everyone to get kind of a fair opportunity, so it's not very very easy thing, but yeah, a lovely discussion. That also Boni Kapoor, again, he has such a age, he has such experience. The things he's talking about. I didn't know that newer theaters used to play these classic films first because they always used to get full. So I think you learn a lot about how films work, and it just gives you a better idea of what's really happening. I think getting more context of how it always has been. Like people say you cannot really understand what audience want and this and that. Like audience always watched good films. It's not rocket science. It just make good films. That's the focus. But let's check out part two, and the reaction is right here on screen. If it's not out yet, it's only for members, but it'll be out soon for everyone. Let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below, and I will see you next time.